We're just going to have a fireside chat about Web3. We're going to make it a bit informal to try to understand what is the status of Web3 and how ready the Arab world is for this technology. طبعا أستاذ مصطفى خريبة, one of the leading individuals in this field. I'm Abdurrahman Al-Muqla. I'm the CEO of Rudder Consultancy, one of the first consultancy firms specialized in Web3 technologies. Ustad Mustafa, welcome. I think our title today is Web3 in the Arab world and how ready we are. How about you tell us a little bit about your journey in this field from a banker to jumping in technology and Web3, what enticed you? And let's start with that, if you don't mind.
Hello. Thank you, Abdurrahman. I appreciate the intro. Actually, I've always believed that there's an inherent relationship between what it is that you do, whether it's finance, whether it's banking, whether it's in any other field with technology. And I was an early, proponent of technology being a transformative force in whatever you do. So I've traditionally been in the banking, in private equity, asset management, investment banking, and it was only an inevitable change or a transition to the tech space. And roughly about 2 years ago, I got more involved into the technology aspect of things, and more specifically into the Web3 and digital asset world. And today we're probably, the largest growing blockchain globally. We're based and going to be launched out of Abu Dhabi, so I think the future is bright. It's an inevitable connection between the traditional finance and the Web3 world.
Okay. Do you see Web3 as a revolution or evolution of doing things?
No, I think it's an evolution, because to understand Web3, you need to go first through Web 1, which was essentially from the 90s to the 2000s, which is an HTML static kind of access to internet. And then it moved into the Web 2, which is more of an interactive approach to internet, where people can interact with the websites and the individuals, and it's what we're living in today. The introduction of applications, smartphones, etc. And then Web 3 is the transition into the blockchain world, where everything is done on a decentralized platform on a blockchain.
Excellent. The thing I felt from my involvement in the field within the last 2 years is that a lot of people get intimidated. Like, what is Web3? Abdurrahman قاعد هني ومصطفى يتكلمون Web3, يتكلمون blockchain, يتكلمون. Who here knows what is a blockchain with a show of hands? Okay, that's amazing. Crypto, NFTs. Okay, some yes, some no. But I think we are to blame a little bit as industry leaders when we step into any room assuming that everybody knows the terminologies that we're using. And that does hurt adoption. So how do you see the best way to increase the adoption rate with the commoners without the intimidation, given that a lot of the highlights on the news now are about scams and scandals and bad behaviors in this new technology?
I think it's imperative to make a distinction. So, education is a very, very important aspect in anything. It's not only in technology, not only on the blockchain or crypto space, but in general, definitely lack of education into whatever space you're being pursued through is a core problem. Today, we have the issue that people mix up or interchange the definition of cryptocurrency, NFTs, and blockchain. So a small example, NFTs. People think NFTs are JPEGs that people buy for a certain amount of money that they invest, and then they lose all this money later on. But in reality, a non-fungible token is the absolute definition of ownership. So an NFT essentially is an undisputed claim to ownership. That's simply put. So if people understand that NFT is not a JPEG of a monkey, but it's more of an ownership stake, then it's a different discussion, which comes out to, again, education and educating and simplifying. I think it's more important that we simplify things. And the world of Web3 and digital assets is dominated by a much younger population. And this younger population has a much shorter attention span. And this shorter attention span leads to a very limited opportunity for anybody to teach them anything. Because you already are dealing with an audience that think they know the world, okay? And they think they are the best experts at everything. So it takes a lot of work. But for the layman, I think I encourage short reads. Just, if you Google what is a cryptocurrency, you will understand. What is the meaning of blockchain, you'll understand. So education is very, very important.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, we come across that a lot. I mean, whenever we speak to people about the technology, the applications, they immediately say exactly like what you said. Pictures of monkeys for millions of dollars, that definitely doesn't make any sense. I don't believe in it, honestly. Do people make money? Yes, a lot of people make money from so many things.
Made money.
Made money as well, yeah. So no longer probably the case. So how do you see the role of regulators in terms of, especially that given the nature of the decentralization of the blockchain, yeah, and how it started with freedom of money movement, freedom of ownership away from government, away from the man, if I can put it that way, and how do you see the regulations kicking in? Would they help that thing, go against it, and how do you see it from a personal point of view?
So the regulation has always been the big elephant in the room when it comes to decentralized platforms. Why? Because the world as we see it today is highly centralized. What does it mean to be highly centralized? It means that all your banking transactions is controlled by central banks that are present in the countries that you're dealing with. Regulators are regulating the institutions you're dealing with. And every dollar that you send, the bank is making something out of it and exactly controlling how and when and where to send it. So then comes the decentralized world. And the decentralized world is basically saying, look, we want to be self-governed. We don't want to be controlled. We don't want to have a big brother watch out over us. Which also doesn't fully work because the world cannot simultaneously move into a decentralized existence. So what I think will be happening is a hybrid. And a hybrid means that the operating technologies will be regulated as a platform, but the activities will not be the regulated activities. There'll be a decentralized activity. So I can send to you cryptocurrency, if you say, or tokens or coins, simultaneously with a move from one wallet to your wallet. Nobody will understand when, why, or where. I will pay gas fees, which sometimes are high, sometimes are not, depending on the blockchain. But what people don't understand is that these transactions are also traceable. So it's not like they're not traceable. Any individual today can go into a wallet scanner and enter the wallet address, and you can see every single transaction in and out of that wallet. Now, what you will see the destination being another series of numbers. You will not say, مثلا, Abdul Rahman received money from me, but nevertheless, you will see where this money is coming from somehow. So I think the future is a combination of both. A regulatory framework that governs a decentralized world.
Yeah, I'm just checking the time. We have time, I think, right? Because I'm learning a lot from you here.
No,
and I need your perspective on two things, if you don't mind, yeah? Anonymity. Is it something that should be protected? The second thing, because I don't have a note, I don't want to forget it, is CBDC. Let's talk about anonymity first. What do you think?
Anonymity in terms of what? What do you want to be invisible?
I mean the right to be anonymous on the internet, on the blockchain, but when it comes to dealing with money, that opens dangerous doors, yeah? But the right of ownership and being anonymous using those funds and moving them around. I mean, this is how the crypto came into place and the Bitcoin,
so
right?
Look, yes, crypto came into play because the use of crypto has been questionable. Why? Because it was an easy way or form for illegal activities and profits from illegal activities to move from one space to the other.
True.
Correct. But so was money, and so was gold, and so was silver. So in its initial phases, all these forms of currency was misused at one point in time.
Sure.
So we are in the innate phases of building out the digital asset space. And it's not only the cryptocurrencies, it's a much bigger space than we actually anticipate. So then here comes CBDCs. So CBDC stands for a
Central bank digital currency.
There you go. So you're doing a central bank, which is a centralized notion, a digital currency. What is that? It's essentially taking my dirham and creating an electronic dirham equivalent to this dirham. So I'm eliminating the cash that's circulating and replacing it with a digital dirham.
Okay.
Okay? So what does that do? So that gives the banking system or the central bank or the government, for that sake, even more control. So now I, as a central bank governor, know exactly what this e-dirham was paid towards. Who has it, where is it going, and everything. So,
and having the power to stop you from spending it on several things as well.
Maybe, I don't know, that's debatable, but the notion of a CBDC is a great notion, but it doesn't become a decentralized currency. People have to also, again, make the distinction.
Okay.
And there's also stable coins, which is a whole different.
Completely different subject. I'd like to know, and I'm sure the audience here as well, tell us more about Venom. I want to know personally because I'm building an app myself and I would love to use your platform.
Not a problem. This is not what I didn't anticipate you ask me, but essentially, in short, Venom is a layer 0, layer 1 blockchain that we are developing locally here in Abu Dhabi. And we're actually the only blockchain that is licensed by the FSRA, which is the Abu Dhabi Global Markets Financial Services Regulatory Authority. And why this is important, whether it's Venom or not, it's because we are seeing a complete shift from a regulatory perspective, from ignoring the fact that there's something called digital assets and blockchain technology to now immensely engaging into this space. So ADGM 3 weeks ago published their white paper about their new regulatory framework for regulating blockchain foundations, which is a huge step in the right direction. And the UAE has always really been at the forefront of this.
Okay, and you guys will be one of the first blockchains to...
We are the first, but
first.
inshallah we won't be the only ones, of course.
Amazing, amazing. I mean...
This is a collective space. So the blockchain doesn't work if I don't do a peer-to-peer. So blockchains work when people agree to work on a blockchain. I cannot have a blockchain and be the only person working on a blockchain.
Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, if anybody has any questions, anything, please do raise your hands. Oh, do we have a mic? I think we have a mic. Microphone?
Thank you very much. About decentralized finance.
Yeah.
I'm a banker, business. However, I always keep in mind that control protects the growth of the business. So compliance, I respect compliance because they protect me, not to have money laundering or so in my business, which will hinder my business. So having mentioned, you mentioned, sir, that, okay, I understand also that fintech went too far and the regulators with sandboxes trying to catch up. This is true. But what you mentioned, DFI, how come someone lend it to somebody or transfer to other body? We don't know, and no one track both of them. What about anti-money laundering and terrorism finance? Thank you.
Would you like to take it?
I'm assuming you're a banker.
Yes, I said so for 30
I didn't
years.
hear it, sorry.
Yes.
Because the question was aligned with a banking background. But it's very simple. Now, this is, again, another fallacy. So here we're assuming that because I'm in a decentralized finance platform, that I'm not AML, not KYC. Even today, if you open up in Binance, Binance.com, the largest decentralized platform for trading cryptocurrencies, your KYC. You're not just anonymous. You still need to provide your ID, copy of your ID, your name, address, and everything, and then you create an account. The fallacy is when people think that because I have a wallet and I'm moving money, nobody knows where I'm moving money to and I'm moving money across. This is no longer the case. It cannot happen. Today, Binance, even if transactions above 50,000, you need to declare where you brought this money from. So it's not as easy as people assume it is. Now, in terms of as a business owner, you are providing an alternative form of payment. Nobody's telling you, no, don't accept cash, or don't accept Visa, or MasterCard, or Amex, or Discover. You're only providing an additional form of payment for those clients that have assets in crypto. So it could be in BNB, it could be in USDT, USDC, it could be whatever it is. And you're providing them with the opportunity to buy your product using an alternative form of payment. That's all it is. How this form of payment comes into play and how you made this money will always be a point of question. Today in the bank, I can deposit every day 10,000 dirhams every day, and nobody will ask me where this money is from. In the banking system, right? I go to ATM machine, I can deposit 10,000. Depends on your level. 10,000, I guarantee you. Huh? Very good, but it's 30,000 in. I will wait 1 week, do another 30,000. Huh? No.
And after 3 days, the system will catch the behavior.
Yeah.
And then you will be blacklisted.
I beg to differ. I started my career off in banking, and actually we work very closely with banks, and I can tell you the system doesn't automatically does it. Randomly, yes, but the system, you go to a bank machine and you can pay your credit card today, cash in a bank machine, and nobody will ask you where you got that money from, and you can do it up to 100,000.
I tend to disagree, but anyway, I think it depends on the maturity of the regulatory environment in each country. Some countries, they don't really monitor it yet, but some countries, they really do.
The point I'm trying to make, thank you for that input, but the point is not whether banks and regulators do or not. The option is that this form is also available. People today not necessarily also control the cash that comes in. And the same will be for crypto. It's just an alternative form of money transfer. If you want to be part of a centralized system, then you definitely have that choice. If you want to be completely decentralized, you also have that choice. But like I said at the beginning, I think the future will be a hybrid model where KYC, AML is going to be a big part of it, and then the decentralized part will be transactions moving from one to the other.
And if I may add here, Ustad, to answer your question in terms of anti-money laundering, actually the blockchain provides you full traceability of any transaction, easy traceability, and if you're on one of the public blockchains, it's accessible to literally everybody. So it makes it even easier for the authorities. We work in Bahrain very closely with the digital crime sector, and their life is much easier tracing any questionable funds through Binance, because Binance is a regulated one in Bahrain, and they can basically catch you in a heartbeat if you actually have any issues, and they can lock your accounts. It's just like Ustad Tafadhal, it's just another way of
you know, the Central Bank of the UAE signed with R3 and G42 3 weeks ago to introduce a CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. So I'm sure if the Central Bank of the UAE sees it as a threat to its existence, they wouldn't do it. I think this is the move of the future.
I totally agree. Yeah,
it's a move of the future. They have to adapt, or you will be left behind. You said technology goes fast. You have to keep up.
Yeah. تفضل أخي.
شكرا جزيلا.
إيه شغال بس خلي المايك قريب مني.
أسامة رئيس. We are speaking about future finance, but still we are pulled down by classical systems. By classical banking.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a paradigm shift. unless we adhere and address this issue, that there is a paradigm shift, we cannot just take the old system and try to make cosmetics for it to, it will not go. Classical system is for the past. We are speaking about future finance. Most of the business in the today and in the future is digital. The business itself, which needs finance, the business itself, which have transactions. So we can't wait until the classical system would be convinced for that. Now already many of our youth are adopting other types of finance from outside the region. He is having a website generating money. How he will bring the money and put it in a classical system and want to get cash and go to the ledger and write this and check and all this. So unless our banking system in the Arab world would recognize its situation, that it is in a critical situation, I think within 5 years, 50 or 60% of our banking system will vanish.
In the UAE, and different than any other nations, even globally, there's a great appetite to create the facilitation from fiat to crypto. We have an account with a local entity, a local bank, one of the top 5 banks, that is enabling our customers, because we have an exchange, we have an MTF exchange, multi-trading platform, to deposit dirhams, buy crypto, sell crypto, take it back into dirhams. This is a huge step that the UAE has taken, and this particular bank, with the guidance obviously of central bank. Globally, there's 2 predominant banks that do this crypto to fiat, but they're neobanks, so they're not really physical banks. You will hear about the JP Morgans and the Morgan Stanleys and all that. They're looking into adopting this technology, but I tell you from experience that the UAE is truly ahead of its curve. And today, there's an actual bank that operates in the UAE that will allow you to open a fiat to crypto account. So yes, if the banks don't adopt, they will be left behind. But you have to keep in mind, banks are very archaic, old, heavy institutions. To move, it's like moving a skyscraper. You cannot move a skyscraper. It's got to be slowly but surely. And it will take time, and they will quickly realizing. Today, we, forget about me on this panel, but as somebody who has a blockchain that we're running out of Abu Dhabi, we're in final discussions with 2 UAE banks to set up a stable coin and a CBDC for these banks. They recognize if they don't become the first movers, they will be left behind. Today, on the decentralized network, you can borrow money instantly, and you can get it funded electronically to your wallet without having to sign a single piece of paper. Smart contract.
Same line, I'm using you. But the problem is that if the banking system would not move as fast as the other world is moving, who will move? Our youth will move from the region. We will be losing the people. This is the problem here. Instead of caring about the banks to go surely, and we will be losing our youth, going outside and working outside.
Our youth.
Yes.
You reside in the UAE? You live in the UAE? Okay. If you live in the UAE, then you're in the right place. Everywhere around the world, people are being chased out. Who are those that are a driving force behind digital assets and Web3? The UAE is becoming the hub for the entire nation, the entire world. from a digital aspect, digital assets aspect, and managing the digital asset space vis-a-vis Web3. So Abu Dhabi in particular had FSRA, which is the first digital asset regulator. Dubai now has VARA. We've had DMCC in Dubai for the longest time, regulating crypto businesses. I mean, you're fortunate. If you don't live here, you should move, if you're interested in this space.
Well, I'm biased, so I'm going
He's
to say
from Bahrain,
Bahrain.
sorry.
Yeah, and
Also
Bahrain, one of the
Bahrain is
leading
a
regulators as well. Yani, let's not forget about my beautiful country. So I don't think we should worry about the youth. The youth will find a way or another wherever they are. Banks need to worry about catching up. So many industries have changed to the better because of the nature of being the intermediate or intermediary in that ecosystem. Blockchain and crypto is a scary word for banks. They need to adapt, or it's literally replacing them. I made a very simple transaction from Bahrain to UAE in 2 tranches, each $1,000. Each time I've been charged $40. The second one has been held, and I had to file paperwork because of suspicious transaction, $1,000. So in crypto, that's not there. And if they want to check it, they can check it without even asking me. So these things have to change, or they're going to be left out. I'd rather do all my transactions now through Binance rather than a traditional bank, because it's so easy. So I will not leave the region because the banks are not there. I'm going to leave the banks and use the new technology. I hope that answers your question. I hope you agree with me.
You have to, again, make a distinction. So cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, Web3, 3 different things. So decentralized finance is doing finance on a Web3 blockchain environment. May or may not include trading of cryptocurrency. It could be, like I told you, lending and so forth. So you don't necessarily have to do the crypto world.
Thank you. May I ask also another one? هنا إن شاء الله.
Yeah.
شكرا. Very interesting. Yeah. Just to start with a very minor recommendation and then a question. The recommendation, and when we use these acronyms, and I mean, it's quite a new topic somehow, or not new, but for many it's still new. So it would be great when you use the acronym is to provide its meaning, as you have done in between with one of the acronyms. That would be very helpful.
Which acronym you don't know?
There are many. I will search to them, but for now, let's get to the question.
You have to stop me, because I will then explain it to you, because
Yeah, I just didn't want to stop the flow. It was an interesting discussion.
No, don't
but,
worry. Have you just joined us? Because I said
No.
at the beginning that
You said many of
education
them.
is
it's our fault. We tend to forget to not use these acronyms.
Such
a lot.
an interesting discussion. I appreciate it.
Please,
Just I would talk. I love the word that you said about the regulations. It will be decentralized market, but regulated in some cases. So back to that regulation of the question in the blockchain market, for example, in the NFTs market, which is big. I mean, like the NFT art in many markets, the NFTs market are somehow exceeded the market size of physical arts in many places around the globe. So NFTs, for example, the regulations of it is quite complex and volatile, and there is a lot of regulatory risks and uncertainty. Like, for example, cryptos are illegal in Egypt. In Germany, they are not able yet to classify whether NFTs will be securities or will not be securitized. They are subject to which kind of income taxes, whether for the personal income taxes, or they are all so far classified as in Germany as other economic goods. So this uncertainty in the regulations will have somehow make a volatile impact in an already volatile market. So you as a blockchain owner, how do you see that risk? How do you react to it? How do you assess it in the future term, 5, 7, 8 years, not in the coming 2 years? Yeah.
7 years within the coming 2 years?
I mean, that regulatory risk.
What's the fear? What do you want me to address? Because
the regulatory risk in that market is huge because of the uncertainty around regulations. So in 10 years, what kind of risks you may expect? What do you see? Because you're talking about investments, a lot of money. People wouldn't come to invest in 2-3 years. If there's some other investor with 7, 10 years, 15 years visions. So in summary, towards the point, the regulatory risks as a blockchain owner, in that blockchain business, how do you see it?
So our blockchain is regulated. So that's number one, okay? So number two, the issues that surround the regulatory frameworks, they're not regulatory risks, they're risks of being unregulated, okay? So, because there's no risk of being regulated, but the risk of being unregulated means that your case use of whatever it is you're going to be doing gets diminished. Today, an NFT, by the way, the NFT market dropped or reduced or evaporated to the rate of 95% of what it was last year. So if there was 100 NFTs that were trading, only 5 trade today. So, and as I said before, an NFT is the absolute form of ownership. It's not the JPEG and the art. That no longer is the case. But regulation, I think, is very, very important in this field because it allows for a secure way of giving institutions and government agencies the comfort that there is some oversight. Because for the individual, they don't care about regulation, the retail individual. I think we're out of time, but I mean...
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I just have a question. Can I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Please.
Thank you, gentlemen, for the presentation. I think it's very informative. But you mentioned the transfer.
I can't hear you, sorry.
You mentioned the 2 transfers from Bahrain.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them didn't go through. Maybe a lot of questions around AML and KYC and a lot of this stuff. But crypto is being accused for encouraging illegitimate trade today. Any illegitimate trade that I'm in, I would love to go to the cryptocurrencies because they are totally unregulated. So how would you address that risk? That crypto is being now the safe haven for all the money laundering issues in the world.
I really think this is, you're a banker, obviously, yeah? Yeah, I mean, money laundering have been going on since inception of humankind. Crypto is there for maybe 10 years now?
In 2013, 10 years.
2013. It got kind of a decent adoption 2015, 16 when Bitcoin picked up. I think it's unfair to blame or to use your statistics of blaming crypto becoming the safe haven of all money laundering in the world. I mean, there are better ways to money launder than crypto because crypto is traceable by nature. With countries that have proper regulations, it makes it even more difficult to launder your money through crypto because everything has everything, as I said, is traceable, and there is KYCs, AML kicking in. So I don't see it actually as a safe haven, more of a solution and a better tool to counter money laundering.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I just give him one
Go
comment
ahead.
and all that? You're digital banking, right? You said you're a digital bank. So, digital banking, you said, yeah? Okay. So, you're heading a digital bank. So, from a digital bank perspective, how do I build up balance in my digital account? I transfer money or I put cash?
You will transfer money.
So, if I don't have a regular bank and I want to open a digital bank, how do I put money?
Through the ATM.
Through the ATM. So, if I challenge any central bank in this world that can tell me where every single currency they printed is. What I'm trying to say is that there are today, and has been for the longest time, money that's not in circulation that is not known to the central banks of those nations. So the dollar, they print as they wish. However, they cannot tell me where every single serial of every single dollar sits today. And that also is one form where money laundering or transfer of black money happens. You know, today it's very difficult to buy $1 million worth of USDT. Exceptionally difficult. How? The only way you can do it is you either transfer through your credit card, and very limited people have $1 million limits on their cards, or you do a wire transfer. And when you do a wire transfer, your bank that's transferring out is asking you where this money is going. And if it's going to crypto, you're getting shut down. So the notion that cryptocurrency is providing the best safe haven for money launderers and illegal activity is no longer the case. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mr. Khreba and Mr. Al Muklam. Thank you so much.